How would you like to get both the number 1 and number 2 ranked NFL handicappers of all time at WagerTalk for the price of one? Tony Finn and Las Vegas Cris have produced almost 485% profit in NFL for their clients. You now have the opportunity to lock in both handicappers through the Super Bowl. Yes, that includes any 5% best bets, regularly priced at $1,170, now just $585. Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas. And guess who I'm joined by? Number 1 and number 2. That's right, the 2 best NFL handicappers at WagerTalk.com. Tony Finn at Finn at WagerTalk, and Las Vegas Cris at Las Vegas Cris with no H on WagerTalk. Guys, are we ready to talk some NFL? We've got 3 really good games for our listeners today. I'm going to start off with the Raiders at the Browns. Checking the current line here, we're looking about 2.5 across the board. Now, this one opened 3 in favor of the Browns. Total 52.5. I'm not trusting Las Vegas this season, and that's because I've been burned just too many times. Cris, am I right in that instinct? I mean, it looks like sharp money came in at 3 here.
I don't think you can count on either one of these teams, quite frankly. I've been basically preaching to my clients over the last several weeks that Cleveland is strangely respected. And on my metrics, for example, last week I pointed out everybody has Cleveland rated in the top 10 offensively, sometimes in the top 5 offensively. I measure a whole arrangement of different categories. And I guess I prioritize different stats. I have Cleveland actually in the bottom third offensively in what actually counts. I think this team is a fraud. I think that they can't be depended on. And I'm not a believer in them. And if you look at that line, they're telling you not to believe them. The Raiders are coming off a horrible game. They embarrassed themselves. And they're traveling on the road and they can't get a field goal from a 5-2 team. That's telling you something right there. Mayfield's been banged up. When they played good teams, they've been outscored 76-13 against their against decent teams. So, they did have one good win against Indy, but the Raiders are playing a very difficult schedule also. They may, their defense may be at the bottom, but they played Tampa Bay. They played Kansas City. They played Buffalo when they were hot. They played New England when they were doing well. And Carolina is not complete garbage either. So I'm going to be looking the Raiders' way for sure in this game.
Tony, I think I'm a little too nervous to just take the 2.5. I think this looks like an excellent teaser situation for the Raiders, but I want to hear your thoughts on this matchup. Maybe you have an opinion on the total.
I have an opinion on everything, as you know. In this game, I have an opinion on lots of things as well. Talk's really cheap. In measuring public perception, the odds makers do a lot of work on this. In this game, the Raiders and Browns, I find it rather surprising the Browns have been as public, at least in my assessment, as public as the Raiders. It doesn't help the Raiders any or Oakland any, or should I say Las Vegas any, that they haven't been very good. This team's not very good. You should be worried about this team. If we go back to midseason last year, when they were supposed to be having a nice second half, they improved the second half, guys. They did. But who they played and who they beat is not anything you want to measure a team on come Sunday morning and give them credit for anything. In this game, Browns 5-2. Vegas actually 3-3, I believe. Is that correct? These two teams are frauds. They're smoke and mirrors, and neither one are very good defensively. And the total, I would say this: if you look at trends, guys, trends are Cleveland is 7-0. Their last 7 games is a favorite, 7-0 to the over. The Raiders, as an underdog, are 5-0 or 4-1 to the over, depending on the book's number on the push. So Neither one of these teams have playoff qualifications. Neither one, if they happen to slide into the playoffs, are going to be. They're not going to be anybody that any other team is going to be afraid of. And for the most part, this is a game that, barring the weather, which is supposed to be wet and a little bit windy, the wind worries me, Kelly and Cris, but I would be on the over.
Okay, Tony, I'm going to stick with you here. We're going to talk about an AFC North matchup. I think it's the game of the week. The Steelers, a 3.5-point, 4-point underdog, depending on where you like to shop, at the Ravens. Now, this is a really interesting line here. We know that Pittsburgh has just been shock and awe all season long. They've shown moments of weakness. They've shown moments of greatness. Particularly last week, they almost blew a nice lead to the Tennessee Titans. It's hard for the Steelers team to keep their foot on the gas, per usual with Mike Tomlin. We know these things. But in a divisional game, I think we'll get everything from the Steelers team. But as I'm looking at the WagerTalk odds page, I'm kind of concerned that this Steelers team may end up being a square dog by a kick.
Yeah, if the Steelers are a dog, it's surprising. If they're a dog of -3, then I would agree with you. In this situation, there'll be a square dog. But I also like them here. I'm not a Baltimore's not played well. Lamar Jackson's not played well, especially recently. The 20-point lead last week that they gave up a little bit was a lot of garbage time points. Although, if the Titans had somebody who could kick a field goal, the outcome of this may have been very different. And that really, in truth, that kicker has cost them more than just last week. It didn't cost them, but they had to have been concerned. This is the only undefeated team in the league. This is perfect game conditions from what I saw this morning. 50s, not too much wind, a single-digit chance of rain. And there's the key injuries in this game really are Devin Bush, the linebacker for the Steelers, who's out. He's out. Bush is out. It looks like Deontay Johnson might play, still listed as questionable. And the Ravens' injury concerns are Ingram, Mark Ingram, who's also questionable. But I think everyone that's supposed to play, all the key players, save Bush, will play here. I'm a big Steelers fan. I'm fan meaning I prefer to back them as to fade them, depending on the number. But so far this year, I've found their numbers to be favorable, guys. They're nothing pretty to watch defensively, but they do the job. Nobody's better against the run on first down than the Steelers, which puts teams, especially Lamar Jackson, that's not the most accomplished quarterback with his arm. This game, in my opinion, I don't think buys hold the same value coming off a bye in our environment, in this NFL environment we're in. And I think if you're a good quality team and you're a visitor, then in truth, there should be some handicap for that team. You don't have to fight the crowd noise on snaps, and good quality teams, Chiefs, Mahomes, anybody wants to get up to the line of scrimmage and audible, there's no hurdle. There's no fog. There's no smoke. They can do those kind of things. In this situation, I have to tell you that the Steelers and the points, the way they've been playing, granted they have given some leads up, but I could not. This is Steelers or nothing for me, guys.
I would agree with you there, Tony. Cris, are you on the same wavelength as Tony and I? I always tend to love getting the better defense plus the points here.
You know what? This caused a little bit of chaos with myself and a few other people that like to bet. When we saw the 6 out there, it was panic. How could this have opened at 6? And we had to waste so much time looking for injuries and saying, what are they, nuts? Because odds makers don't make mistakes that far apart. And quickly, I have Pittsburgh as the better team. And I'm not the only one. I actually thought, that I might perhaps be on my own island on that. But I just listened to several different shows today, and they had Pittsburgh the better team coming into this game. What I really dislike about this situation is, this is the second road game in the row, facing a team off the bye, off a big win, a little bit banged up, and a second game off of that key, injury. Sometimes the team doesn't pull behind the injured player as much that second game. So, but Baltimore's not the same team they were. I think Jackson is an entirely different player. I think Kansas City crushed a little bit of his heart. If you listen to his post-game interview, I don't remember exactly what he said, but I said that guy is not going to forget. He has it in his head that he can't beat them. And it's not good. And what did they do afterward? They're trying to change the whole game. Now they want to turn him into a pocket passer. And that might be good in the long run, but there's going to be growing pains and struggles. And he hasn't adapted 100% on that. The defense has been entirely carrying him. So quickly, Pittsburgh is certainly the better team here so far. It's a bad spot. This is an actual client release. I'm on Pittsburgh, and that's who I like.
All right, glad to see we are all in alignment. Last but not least, the Indianapolis Colts take on the Detroit Lions. 3-point underdogs, some 2.5s. Looks like over at South Point and a couple of prominent offshore books. So that's interesting to see. Total of 50. Cris, I'm going to let you have the first word here on this one. I personally put the Lions in a teaser as well. Look, it's easy sometimes just to take the easy way out, especially when you're getting over that key number of 3 and 7.
Well, this is a perfect example of how serious you are about the type of bettor you're going to be. I'm a diehard Lions fan. I love the Lions. When they were 0-16, I love the Lions. But thankfully, what I do in the NFL is all metric based, and I got to do what my system tells me to do. It's very good. Detroit is actually improving quite a bit. They're getting DeAndre. I forget the guy's name. The running back into the lineup with Adrian Peterson. They're changing their defense from man-to-man to zone, and that's been a lot more successful. Their pass D is down to 64%, which is not bad. It was up at 70% initially when they were playing man-to-man. The only problem is Stafford's not having one of his best seasons. He's completing 62% of passes. Rivers is completing 70% of passes, coming off his best game of the season. He threw for 371 yards last week because he finally has an offensive line that's going to protect him. Stafford has a mechanics issue, and he's kind of up and down, and I kind of worry about that a little bit with them. The metrics on this clearly lean Indianapolis, but they've had a little bit of a weaker schedule, and even compensating for that, Detroit hasn't fared well at home. They're 0-2 at home, so it's not like there's going to be any, real home field advantage. And Indianapolis has had 2 weeks to prepare for them. So I'm leaning Indianapolis. I think the line's going to come down. I think Detroit's going to get a lot of love. There's a lot of talk about them making the playoffs, and they just traded for the guy from Dallas to help their pass rush, Griffin. So they're definitely trying.
It's a very good point. Everson Griffin should be able to help that defense. Tony Finn, your thoughts on this matchup? Do you have an opinion on either side or the total?
Well, opinion. I listen. I'm one of the few. I believe wholeheartedly Detroit. Listen, Detroit can be Detroit. Stafford can be Stafford. I'm a big Stafford fan. I think he's one of the. I think if you put Stafford in the mix with an Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs and the surrounding cast they have, Stafford's like anybody would be. I guess if the three of us were to play quarterback for the Chiefs, we probably would be better than we were playing for the Lions. And that said, here's Phillip Rivers is also Phillip Rivers on the other side, and that is the 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That is it's been his Achilles. If you get Phillip Rivers a lead, guys, he can manage a game. But over the last couple of years, he presses when he doesn't have a lead, and he doesn't have the arm strength he used to have. And if you watch him throwing out, if you can't throw it out in the NFL, then defenses can cheat, and they can cheat to the middle, and he cannot throw from the pocket. He cannot throw a sideline out without a Colt fan or a bettor or wager or a gamer or a fantasy football guy that has him thinking this is a pick six. I can see it coming. This Colts team is better defensively than they are offensively. Taylor has done a great job. Listen, John Taylor's done a great job replacing Mack. He's is emerging one of the best pass catching backs in the league. And if it wasn't for, listen, last week I thought anytime you're getting points from a bad team, and I don't believe you're a bad team, which I don't believe the Lions are, then it's a play for me, or at least it's sure consideration. I mean, this team has tossed away leads to the Bears, 14-point lead against the Pack team. They beat the Cardinals in Chandler. This is a team, what they have, a 14-point lead against the Saints. They're better than their record. They're better than the stats. And if they've made serious adjustments defensively since the first 2 weeks of the season, they're about 8 points better per game, is sort of allowing. And in turn, that creates more offensive opportunities, and they're better offensively. If Stafford's healthy and he has any help around him, Detroit would be the team I would think would challenge Green Bay in that division. And in this game, I like Detroit plus the points.
Okay, Tony Finn has spoken. Thank you to Cris and Tony. Again, number 1 and number 2 handicappers in the NFL of our Wager Talk. Bravo, gentlemen, and good luck to you this weekend.